Did you know that you actually already know more than 1,000 words in Spanish? Now you might be thinking, what is this crazy guy saying? But I'm not crazy. Spanish and English share what are called perfect cognates, aka words that are the exact same in both Spanish and English. And we have more than 1,000 of them in Spanish and English, meaning you already know more than 1,000 words in Spanish. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you those words, and more importantly, I'm going to teach you how to properly pronounce these. So make sure you watch the video until the end so you can learn how to have a really, really good accent in Spanish. One that will make native speakers go, whoa, your Spanish is good. Why do you speak so well? And it will be because of your accent and what you learned in today's video. Bueno, la primera palabra que tenemos es la palabra actor. Actor, okay? Remember that in Spanish, the most important sounds in the entire language are the vowels. Now, other people online are going to tell you all these different things you can do and all these complex strategies and these combinations of letters, and it's confusing. Let's be honest, when you're having a conversation with someone, you're not going to think, oh yes, this is the combination of you and I, and therefore it makes this sound. The most important thing you need to remember is focus on the vowel sounds. In Spanish, a, e, I, o, u. English speakers tend to elongate the sounds, but in Spanish they're a bit more abrupt, okay? A, e, I, o, u. A, e, I, o, u. Okay? So, actor, right? Not actor or actor, right? Actor. Actor. Okay? Once again, all I'm doing is focusing on the vowel sounds, which is why in all of these words, I've underlined the vowels. Animal. Animal. Right? If you break it up into syllables, then it makes it easier to pronounce. Okay? Animal. Animal. Not an animal, right? It's animal. All I'm doing is breaking up the word and focusing on the vowel sounds. And because I'm doing that, my accent sounds way better. Okay? Animal. Base. Base. Okay? Base. Base. All right? All I'm doing is changing the way I'm pronouncing the vowels. It is seriously that simple. If you're like, Nate, this seems too good to be true. This is really that simple. Okay? It's really that simple. Recently, I posted a video and I said it's really that simple, probably like 20 times. So I'm going to try not to do that in this video. Okay. Central. Central. Once again, focusing on the vowel sounds. Central. Not central or central. Right? It's not al, it's a, right? Central. Okay? Confusión. Confusión. Now, if you are speaking Spanish and your accent doesn't sound as good as you want it to sound, the reason is because you're probably speaking too fast, so you need to slow down. And two is you're neglecting the vowel sounds and proper pronunciation because you're thinking about, okay, well, what's this tense and what's that, which is very normal, and I used to do the same thing. But if you want to speak better Spanish, slow down and focus on the vowel sounds when you're speaking, okay? It's a little tweak you can make, but I promise you it's going to make your Spanish sound much more native, okay? Now, I underlined the O here because notice how we have the accent over it. Why do we do this? Well, remember that in Spanish, the natural emphasis on a word falls on the second to last vowel. Okay, so the natural emphasis in a word falls on the second to last vowel in the word. So in this case, it would typically be I in this case. But instead of saying confusión, I'm saying confusión. Right? On, right? I wouldn't say confusión. I wouldn't say confusión. I'm saying confusión. Okay? Notice that. So I always teach my students when there's an accent on a word like this and you're not sure how to pronounce it, kind of jump or when you say that letter. Okay? Confusión. Okay? Kind of helps you get into the habit of using those accents. Doctor. Doctor. So notice how there's no accent on this word. It's because we know the natural emphasis on this word falls on the second to last vowel. Here's the last vowel. Here's the second to last vowel. Doctor. So it's not doctor. It's doctor. Anyways, let's move on. Error. Okay? Error. Error. Okay? Final. Final. Also, with the word error, really quick, I know we kind of skipped over it. If you can't roll your R's, I have video lessons on it here on my YouTube channel, or you can learn more inside of my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. The big thing is to touch that bump at the top of your mouth. We call it the alveolar ridge. You're going to touch it with your tongue, and you're going to move it forward or backward, and you're going to blow out air. You're not pushing hard with the tongue. It's just barely touching it, okay? Okay, so move the tongue forward or backward, and eventually you'll find that sweet spot. It'll take some practice, but actually one of my new Academy students, Elise, joined the program literally a week ago, and she's already rolling her R's just based off of the things that we taught her and the exercises that she practiced. So if you can't roll your R's, I promise you, you can. It's just going to take some time and some practice. Okay? Final. Cool. All right, moving on. Gas. Okay? Not gas, right? Gas. Gas. Okay? Hotel. Okay? Notice how the H is silent here. Hotel. Okay? So it's not hotel, it's O. Hotel. It's almost like it doesn't exist. Okay? Hotel. Idea. Idea. Judicial. Judicial. It's not judicial, right? It's judicial. Judicial. Once again, focus on the vowel sounds. Kilo. Kilo. Legal. 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 Motor. Motor. Okay? Normal. Normal. Original. Original. Que es original, right? Original. Original. Cool. How are we doing so far? All right. Let's take a look at these words. Pasta. Pasta. Right? It's not pasta. In English, you kind of make that sound. Okay? In Spanish, it's a. Remember, it's a little bit more abrupt. Okay? A, e, I, o, u. A, e, I, o, u. Okay? Pasta. Radio. Radio. Notice how I'm rolling that first singular R. In Spanish, when we have a word that starts with a singular R, we will roll it. Okay? Radio. All right? Similar. 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 Once again, we're just breaking it up into syllables, pronouncing the vowels properly, and now it sounds like we're speaking really good Spanish. Terrible. 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 Usual. Usual. Once again, just focusing on the vowel sounds. A, e, I, o, u. Usual. Usual. Vertical. Vertical. Now, something to note here is that B and V in Spanish make the same sound. Sometimes when a word starts with V, it does sound a little bit like a V in English. But just remember, the rule of thumb is that B and V sound the same in Spanish. They both make a kind of soft B sound. This is very important to remember. So it's not vivir or vertical. It is vivir or vertical. It makes that soft B sound. Now, just to prove my points, I have seen the word adobo, which is traditionally written with a B, written with a V here in Mexico. A native Spanish speaker had written it with a V instead of with a B. It just goes to show that B and V make the same sound in Spanish. I also saw this with the word vestidores, typically written with a V. A native Spanish speaker had written it with a B. So B and V make the same sound, with that soft B sound. Vertical, not ver, ver, okay? Chocolate, right? Not chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Hospital, hospital, okay? Hospital. Remember, if a word starts with H, it's going to be silent. However, if you have a combination like C and H put together, then it will make the ch sound, right? Chico, for example, chico. Finally, menu, menu. Once again, notice how here, this is the last vowel, but because we've added the accent, now it's menu instead of menu, right? Menu, menu, right? Subtle, but it's important, okay? Just like with the word papa and papa, right? Papa meaning potato, whereas papa means dad, Okay, very important to understand that. Muchas gracias por ver este video. Click the link in the video description if you want to join my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. We have more than 200 students, and it's seriously awesome. So click the link in the video description to check it out. Muchas gracias y espero que tengas buen día. Hasta luego.